TOMz.
Hello, TOMz, and welcome to yet another exciting episode of TOMz brought to you by SABC Education. Khona lana SABC TOMz for sure. Mina ke igama lami uSiya.
Mna ndingubongisa bona namhlanje bethunani senza itopic etshisa ubunzi. Kwaye kaloku it's a very big issue for abantu abafuna ukuba nabantwana ngenye imini. It's also a very important topic for people who breed animals. Kwaye it's something that is also a major part of any organism's life cycle.
Now, fertility, or the ability to reproduce, it's something that affects abantu, ilwane, and even plant life. And it all depends on a lot of factors like nutrition, sexual behavior, instinct, and even economics, way of life, and emotion.
Kwaye it's all part of the natural life cycle. Kodwa technology ke isuka kude bethunani. Kwaye science is now able to help along the fertility process and assist in nature along through processes like in vitro fertilization as well as surrogacy. Kwaye uma uyazi bathi into nezo. Sikhola phondoni betnani sanixela lo later benkqubela. Don't you stress.
So get ready for another exciting episode of TOMz, all in the name of science.
What's coming up?
Let's get it.
We discover exactly how the fertilization process works in human beings.
We meet a fertility expert from a clinic in Jozi for some inside info on how the fertility process is helped along by science.
We get the lowdown on scientific discoveries that have been made in the science of fertility research.
And in Clockwise, we learn all about how we learned all we did about the science of fertility in the past.
Mandulo ke bethunani phambi koba i-science of fertility yaziwe, i-cultures ezininzi kaloku zazithandaza kwi-fertility gods or goddesses if they wanted to have abantwana. Now ke the ancient Greeks worshipped Aphrodite and the Romans worshipped Venus.
And even nalana ke eMzantsi abantu bethu basakholelwa ekutheni gods could help with the process of fertility. Kodwa ke culture yeSulu, inkosazane was called upon to help.
Yazi ke sinechomi wasiphaya esitradweni masibuza uba chomi wazintoni wena?
Kunjani Som? Udlala stock sweet, ngicela ngithele stock sweet.
Anginamali.
What gaba lakho?
Mbali.
Ngicela usondele manje ngifuna ukukhuluma naye ngishiye ngiphume mngani. Okran?
Yeah, right.
Okay, manje ngifuna ukuyala, do you want to have children one day?
Yeah, I do.
How many?
3, 4.
Why so many?
Angazi, they just have to grow the legacy.
What's your name, Dad?
Baba.
Papa ngifuna ukuyala, do you want to have children one day?
Sure, yeah.
Why?
Because I actually love kids.
Yeah, I want to have plenty of children.
Okay, so mbali iphi indlela ye-science enceda abantu abangakhoni ukuba nabantwana babe nabantu? Uyayazi ukuthini?
Nope.
Oh, basically, they take, I think there's something in the womb, the top part, then they put it on the other woman's womb.
Yeah.
Then they take the sperm of the guy.
Yeah.
Then they combine it together. Then they put it on the womb so it can form a baby. Yeah, something like this, I think.
Sperm donors and stuff.
Yeah.
And for ladies, I think it's that ovulation. What?
Yeah.
Shout out to TOMz, SABC, Mzansi for sure.
According to studies, fertility rates in Europe and in developed countries around the world have dropped over the last 10 years.
Kwaye ke a study yenziwe apha eMzantsi kaloku ngo-2012 suggested that the same thing is happening kwalapha.
Now, according to the survey though, SA's fertility rate has been dropping for the past 60 years, dropping from an average of 6 to 7 children per woman in the 1950s to 4 to 5 children per woman in the 1980s and then to 3 in the mid-90s to the current rate of 2.5 births per woman now.
Research has also suggested that the women are more career-driven now and prefer to have children at a later stage of ebomi, meaning smaller families.
The way siphila ngakhona life namhlanje sekushintshe kakhulu. In modern culture, a lot more women want to work on their careers and being independent. Whereas in the past, many women stayed at home, bakhulisa iy'ngane. Wena bongiyabona usune one day?
Yes, yeah, definitely wena.
Yeah, definitely. Kodwa kwamanje ngisafuna ukudla ukusha bwami.
Well, bethunani whether when you decide to have abantwana or not, the same natural process generally occurs in all people. During a normal 28-day reproductive cycle, a woman's body releases one egg from a follicle from one of her ovaries.
The egg travels down one of 2 fallopian tubes where it can be fertilized by sperm, which can survive for 48 to 72 hours within the female body.
Now, if the sperm reaches and penetrates the egg and the couple's genes combine to create an embryo, that's when a whole new life begins.
As the first few cells divide, the embryo travels to the uterus where it can implant into the lining or endometrium and begins to develop into an embryo.
Now, if fertilization doesn't take place, or if for some reason or another the embryo is unable to implant, the uterus lining is expelled from the body, leading to menstrual bleeding, which is also known as the period, and the cycle starts all over again.
This is why women have periods, and why if the period does not arrive when a person has been sexually active, there's a possibility that pregnancy may have been caused.
Leyo ke bethunani natural process of how umntwana is conceived. But for various different reasons bethunani, there are people who really want to have children, but they struggle to conceive.
Now, infertility can involve one or both partners. In general, research has shown that in about 1/3 of cases, the cause of infertility involves only the male, and in about 1/3 of cases, the cause of infertility involves only the female.
Kwezinye bethunani cases, the cause of infertility involves both male and female, or no cause can be identified. Even but again, in all these cases, there are treatments available to help abantu abo. Sesihamba ke sayobuthela fertility clinic ukuze sifane ingqoqathi zesevage. Masike sibone babathini yabona.
Now good bafethi indaba ihamba kanjani. We just touched down at Parktown uzoqhubeka ngemishini yethu. Sabe sikhuluma ngodoctor sitshela kabanzi about in vitro fertilization ukuthi inceda kanjani when it comes to infertility. You want to know what it is? You and me right now. Asivayeni.
Mina ngu-Dr. Nechitsivani, osebenza ePark Lane. I'm a fertility specialist.
So Dr. Skills again, what is in vitro fertilization?
In vitro fertilization is fertilization that takes place outside the human body. That's really what it means. So in other words, the mixture of the sperm and the egg is done in the laboratory. This is compared to in vivo. In vivo means in the human body. In vitro in the laboratory.
Oh, okay. Shall I get a process IVF ihamba kanjani?
I-process ye-IVF ilula ngithi sibonile ukuthi ezinye indlela zonke azisebenzi. So sizama ukukhipha leli qanda leli elingaphakathi. Neqanda ngaphakathi elincane. It's a microscopic thing. So siyolikhipha ngenaliti. Mase likhipha iqanda siyolihlanganisa nesperm ngaphakathi kwe-test tube siyalikhipha. Iqanda lihlala lisemanzini, a little bit of fluid. So mase lidonsa liza namanzi amancane. So kufuneka i-microscope ukuyobheka size silibone leqanda inside that fluid. Mase silitholile selihlanganisa nesperm zenze umntwana. Mase yenza umntwana sithatha umntwana simfake kumama phakathi kwesibeletho. This is about 3 days later. Njengoba ngangishilo lana ngibonisa sona isibeletho nama-fallopian tubes amabili. Iqanda malikhula lifana naleli. So liyothi mase likhulile li-round kanje kunamanzi lapha phakathi lihleli la. So inaliti siyifaka la ifike la izodonsa amanzi ayongena ebhodleleni. And then sifuna i-microscope sizobheka. Siyothatha i-catheter encane nje sifake abantwana la sibadropela. Now into engayibekanga clear ukuthi iqanda lilodwa linenkinga. It's almost like lesivenda abathi mawunehlo elilodwa liyathanda ukuphandleka lelihlo lakho lilodwa. So neqanda elilodwa liyathanda ukuba nenkinga endleleni.
So for ithandani out there who really want abantwana but are struggling to have them, there are medical procedures that can help.
Sama ke bethani ngokubethwa ngumoya kaloku siyothi uhawu amanzi. Kodwa ke wena apha ekhaya uzungayindawo masiyabuya. Here's what's coming up even baskeza. Come back from commercials.
Mesibuya etolo ke sobethola kabanzi about the scientific reasons behind fertility and infertility from uchwepheshe. Siyabuya khona manje ungayindawo.
TOMz.
Exciting TOMz show. Teenagers on a mission kaloku le apha kweli gumbi la SABC 1 Zanzi for sure.
Namhlanje sidikida udaba le-fertility or the ability of abantu noma ilwane phela ukuthi zikwazi ukureproduce. Now there are many things that can cause infertility. Futhi abanye osochwepheshe even suggest that if we can make just little lifestyle changes, we are more likely ukuthi sibe nabantwana.
Injalo kanye ke siya, now it is possible that the environment lena can make a big difference to abantu abafuna abantwana. Abanye ke osochwepheshe bathi by exposure to environmental toxins like pollution can affect the adult fertility layer. And even most chemicals used in everyday life like preservatives, this is
Now abantu ke abafuna ukuthola abantwana, both men and women are advised to stay away from pesticides found on non-organic fruit, vegetables, meat, dairy and unfiltered tap water, for example.
Now as the researchers even say that air fresheners with deodorants should be avoided. It's really hard to tell what you can and can't do. Ininzi theory on what makes abantu nezilwanyana fertile. Kwaye ke lo theory isuka from scientific research, which is actually being conducted by professional people yonke imihla at universities and izibhedlela kumhlaba jikelele.
And research into fertility has shown ukuthi kahle kahle khona izinto la phakathi kuthina esingaboni ukuthi kahle kahle kwenzakalani, unless we look under a microscope that can determine whether siyakwazi ukuba nabantwana noma cha.
Aye ke bethunane, our ability to have children is influenced by the production in our bodies of hormones. Kwaye ke if you have an abnormal hormone level, which is quite a common thing, this can make it harder for you to reproduce.
Kakhulu nabongi. Now ngifuna ukwazi mina kahle kahle ukuthi kwenzakalani phakathi emzimbeni wethu besibheka phansi kwe-microscope. What makes us able to have children or unable to reproduce? Sasakhuluma nosobuchwepheshe ukuthi sithole kabanzi ngalolu daba. Check it out.
Touchdown sentence siqhubeka ngemishini yethu bafethu namhlanje sikhuluma nge-sexual reproduction. Wasovakashela udoktar wethu uzisitshela kabanzi ukuthi why is it important for us to know about infertility? While it's you and me up in this, let's get it.
My name's Mervyn Jacobson. I'm a specialist in reproductive medicine. What is infertility? Infertility is the inability of a couple to achieve a pregnancy if they're having regular intercourse in a year. Okay. Everybody must be aware that if they are trying, if they are diligent, and if nothing is happening, then they need to find an appropriate practitioner to evaluate the problem.
Okay, Doc, let's talk about the common factors that cause infertility.
There are three areas that we have to evaluate when we look at infertility. We have to evaluate how a woman produces eggs, if she does and how she does it.
Yes.
We have to evaluate the quality of the sperm, and we have to evaluate the path along which the egg and the sperm have to travel.
Yes.
These three areas need to be assessed all together before we can pass any comment about fertility or make any decisions about the treatment of the problem. And this is why we choose, if it's at all possible, that we see couples rather than individuals.
Singles, yeah.
So what are the problems with eggs? Either there aren't any, or there are eggs that are not being used properly, or else the eggs by themselves don't work properly, or they carry diseases which affect fertility. Okay. In terms of the sperm, is there sperm? Because often there isn't. What is the sperm like? And then a very important point, is the male able to provide the service to deliver the sperm? Because guys have problems getting erections, keeping erections, so there's mechanical issues as well. And then in terms of the pathway, we look primarily at the womb and the tubes. And we know that a number of women have abnormal wombs, or they've had surgery which has damaged their wombs, or they've had infections which have damaged their wombs or their tubes. And these, as individual items, can affect fertility.
And how long does that take?
All factors being equal, we can investigate a couple in under a week. Okay, it's a few blood tests, perhaps an X-ray for the woman to find out more about her womb and her tubes, and a test on the sperm.
Okay, so Doc, how would you advise a person to maximize or improve their fertility?
I think it's very important that we encourage patients to be as healthy as they can. And therefore, lifestyle is a critical issue. What you eat, how you exercise, how you socialize in terms of smoking and alcohol and social drugs, all these factors impact dramatically or can impact dramatically on fertility. We encourage patients to exercise regularly, to have a good body weight, because a large number of patients carry excess weight, and excess weight very definitely can compromise fertility. So a healthy lifestyle creates a healthy body, which creates a fertility environment to be the best it can be for that couple.
One of the most common hormonal imbalances that is experienced by women who have fertility issues is an imbalance of the hormone progesterone.
Now, progesterone is a very important hormone for fertility, conception, and pregnancy. If a woman has levels of progesterone that are too low, she will often have a very short period of time between ovulation and the beginning of the menstrual period. Lokho echaza ukuthi fertilized eggs are not able to properly implant in the uterus, and miscarriage can happen.
Estrogen is commonly known as the female hormone, and it is one of the most important female reproductive hormones. Now, having the right balance of estrogen in the body is important to be able to maintain fertility.
Now, too little estrogen can prevent a woman from ovulating. A lack of estrogen in the body can also keep the lining of the uterus from thickening enough to support a pregnancy. Now, when it comes to getting pregnant, abanye abantu basecollecting that old world techniques may be just what today's high-tech people need.
Acupuncture is a form of alternative traditional Chinese medicine ethi ibandakanya inserting thin needles into umzimba lona and acupuncture points. Kwaye ke abanye osochwepheshe bakholwa uba i-treatment lena can be used uba inyange abantu who are having fertility issues.
Even some high-tech reproductive specialists are exploring acupuncture to help those fertility patients that modern treatments aren't working for.
There's more after this.
Siyabuya khona manje.
Coming up, we go back in time in clockwise to find out ngemvelaphi fertility science.
And we also check out some amazing online content in cyberspace and we get some awesome career advice. Ungaindawo siyabuya khona manje.
TOMz. TOMz.
Samgela lokubethinani ku-TOMz apha ku-SABC1 Zansi for sure siphathwe ngabaqala umqinqubo SABC Education City Donkey siyabonga.
Now sabheka ke science behind having abantwana. Yeah, well sasebancane nathi kodwa ke akhona ama couples out there who still struggle to have children. And namhlanje we are checking out the reasons behind their struggle and what scientific solutions are there.
Ijalo kanye nawe bethinani ukuba nabantwana is a huge commitment. Kafana ucinga ufuneka ubhatala school fees, ubatyise, uthenge impahla, ungalala ebusuku yonke laa nto.
Hayi ke mina ngicabanga ukuthi ube brave kakhulu. Udina lapha ekhaya ngicabanga, do you ever want to have children? Chat to us online and let us know. And futhi ungakhohlwa ukuthi ungaya lapha ku-TOMz website yethu uzothola info ethe xaxa. Ungaphinde futhi ukhohlwe ukuthi ungakhuluma nathi ku-Facebook and on Twitter and kwazi bantu ngathi nje sikhulume nawe ku-social segment yethu later on the show. Now, ukuba nabantwana has been something that people have been doing for as long as humans have been around. Kodwa ke, there were not always reliable scientific methods to help people who struggled.
Now, there have been some pretty crazy theories over iminyaka bethinani. Like in some cultures, it was believed that standing under the full moon at a certain time would help you ube nomntana. I know, right? Kwaye ke bethinani kwezinye cultures abantu babethandaza kaloku to fertility gods and goddesses. Sisahamba ke saya back in time to find out about some of the older theories about fertility. Now, clockwise, jonga. It was only in the 19th century that we learned how the reproductive process worked. So in 1827, scientists first discovered that the female body contains eggs which are called ova. And in 1843, scientists found that conception takes place when a sperm from the male reproductive system enters an ovum. In 1855, the Women's Hospital was opened in New York. Its chief doctor, J. Marion Sims, believed that most infertility could be cured through gynecological surgery, but he agreed to perform artificial insemination in those women who didn't want surgery. His experiments resulted in only one pregnancy ending in a miscarriage. In 1873, the book Sex and Education, written by Harvard doctor Edward Clark, said that having a college education contributes to sterility among young women. So we actually believe that if a woman was educated, she was less likely to have a baby. Now this theory has obviously been proved to be very, very wrong. It was only in 1944, after 6 years since beginning their experiments, that American scientists Rock and Mencken conducted the first successful in vitro fertilization of human eggs. And this was when IVF was born.
Nyazi-ke nami baphethe ukuthi TOMz is all about keeping you guys in the loop and giving you all the facts that keep you in the know. Ingakho-ke thina we are always searching the internet for information because information is power.
Kwaye kaloku bethinani information le ikwenza ube krelekrele. Wonke everybody ufuna uba clever nje bethinani. Kwaye ke clever people are so much more fun at parties and they tell better jokes.
So here's some amazing online content that will help you to be one of those clever people. Yazi ukuthini? Bheka la na cyberspace abash.
Well, Sharon Namklanje has been all about the science of having abantwana, and even though we aren't ready to have kids of our own as yet, we can still keep ourselves educated on how it all works. So here are some great sites to keep you guys clever. And for you biology and science students, abadinga uncedo, go to www.eschoolstoday.com. The site lena is a great resource that will help you with detailed diagrams of the male and female reproductive systems and tell you exactly how they work. And if you want to brush up your studying material for school, check out www.mstworkbooks.com for quiz and tests that will test your knowledge and is ignited to improve your marks and knowledge esikolweni. And if you're looking for a great study resource, check out www.eclassrooms.co.za. The website Lena is free to use and you can get all the materials that you need to learn in your classroom to improve your knowledge for those exams that are coming up. So Melanie, go get it now.
About what makes people able to reproduce today. Kodwa fertility can also be a problem for izilwanyana. Kwaye nabantu who breed izilwanyana as abantu abanjenge-farmers ke. Science is often needed ukuba incede ngala process as well.
And leyo ke isiletha kwi-career yanamhlanje sibhekane nayo. Animal fertility is something that also has been studied, and in mammals, the fertility and conception process can be very similar to ours. Animal husbandry is the science of looking after and breeding animals, specifically those that are used in agriculture. To consider animal husbandry as a career, you will need a national senior certificate with university entrance and maths and life sciences as subjects. You can then apply to do a 4-year BSc degree in animal science at most South African universities. Each university will have its very own requirements. To find out more about your options, visit the South African Society for Animal Science website on www.sasas.co.za. Now, maningi ama career opportunities out there, and when I get uma usebenza ngokuyikhandla, anything is possible. Ngikhumbula ukuthi so dokotela, ama scientists, innovators, inventors of the future, so think big.
Now, ke sisatshela bethu nabantu abanikeza umdla kakhulu enqubeni namhlanje, and they also work very hard to become ingcaphephe in what they do. Masike touch base nabo kwakhona ke sibona babona bathi nina.
So, you guys out there are wondering how I got into the business, and the issue is, how do you get a medical education? Well, I think it's very important that you have to aim towards a university entrance standard of exam. And part of those subjects would be maths and science or biology, all of which would help dramatically with accepting the medical curriculum.
Bakhona abanye abazoqala baye to a general university bayenze a degree like a BSc degree, kodwa preferably umuntu uqala ngokuthi ayenze ama science subjects in matric. So mase siqedile from matric siya university, you go and do medicine, which is a 6-year or a 7-year career. Mase uqedile kuleyo field ye gynecology uyakwazi ukuthatha elinye iqembu elilodwa futhi, another part of gynecology uspecialize ngayo. Yile yenzwe yimi ebizwa infertility or fertility studies. So lapho uyothatha iminyaka emibili.
Yes, bafethu sifike kuma social sessions wethu ke la sikhuluma nawe lapha ku Facebook na ku Twitter. Namhlanje ke oqala lapha na Facebook siphethe uAnathi athi guys, ngiyayenjoy ngempela show yenu. You guys ni fast qhaba fethu, but just ukuthini wena Anathi so try ukuslow down. Wesibili siphethe ba.
Unsaka bejani uthi people do not blame teachers for lack of education or for not being able to learn, because kaloku yazi ndoni wari yami no TOMz ukhona to what to tutor you guys. So bejani sabulela for writing. Ba ufuna ufana nabo senze njani?
It is man lento www.facebook.com/TOMZ @TOMZ_SABC_1 on Twitter, and sasikhona na ku Instagram @TOMZTV_SABC1. Okwamanje sithini sithi keep tweeting.
And that's Gebetsunani is TOMz zethu kaloku. It's a wrap for this beautiful day. Siyabuya ke kwakhona kaloku inkqubo yethu ungqa phambili kweze science and technology for some more and more and more and more.
Because we are science. Yes, we are using science as a verb. Keep telling us ukuthi unicabangani on Facebook and on Twitter, and do not forget to check out the TOMZ website for more info on the show.
Sanibona apha kaloku thina kwinkqubo elandelayo ke nsimbi yesinenqwa enhloko. Till then, Zanzi sithi goodbye.
Bye.
Next time at TOMZ,
we use machines yonke imihla for different things, but what goes on inside them?
Sola kabanzi what gears are and why they're such an important component of machines.
We check out the different parts that make boats move on water and see why they're actually different from other machines. TOMZ qongemivulwana ngolwezibini ngensimbi yesinenqwa enhloko apha ku SABC1.
Mzansi for sure.